Hey y'all, and welcome to Bonner's Market. I hope you had the most wonderful Thanksgiving. I know we did. It was a little different this year, of course, without all the family being able to gather together. But today I have three fairly easy DIYs. Now, they look so intimidating, but if you will watch with me, stick with me till the end, you will see that they are not as intimidating as they look. Be sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Let's get right into it. So this is the candy cane wreath that you can get from the Dollar Tree. Everything on this is from the Dollar Tree except for that ribbon that I had that actually came from Walmart. Other than that, everything else is Dollar Tree. So what you see that I just picked up is everything I'm going to be using except for those two balls. I tried it, but they didn't really look that good. So I take the tag off of the candy cane, and then I take those little wire things there that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I just cut them in half because they don't need to be that long. Now, I am doing 4 pieces of red and 1 piece of white to each bundle. So what you want to do, I was using my table there as my guide of how long I wanted my little poofies to be. I don't even know what they're called. It's just the mesh that you can get at the Dollar Tree. So I think I ended up using, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7. So 7 rolls of mesh. Most of them were red, and the reds had different variants in them. And then just the 1 roll of white because I didn't want it, a lot of white in there. And so then I would literally just cut them off. They roll themselves up pretty much. If they rolled too big, then I would try to tighten the roll up a little bit. And I would put 4 on the bottom, the 4 red ones on the bottom rather, and then the white one on the top. And that's it. And then you just find your, the beginning of whichever end you want to start at and twist it on. And literally, guys, it cannot get any easier than that. So then I, again, just use my table as my sort of guide. I didn't really keep it exactly the length of the table, but you see how fast it is. I mean, I know that's sped up, but you know what I mean. And you just cut them. See, you can see with that red right there, the little variation in the mesh. But you take 4 red ones, 1 white one. Now, that's how I did it for the candy cane part. You can really do it any way you want to. But, I mean, how easy is that? So I continued until I was all out of the red mesh and the white mesh. And actually, it was funny because it was exactly enough. Now, I know mine's a little poofier than most, and you kind of have to look real hard to see that candy cane, what's the word I'm looking for? The candy cane itself, because it's real poofy at the top. But it was probably 2 o'clock in the morning when me and my granddaughter was up doing this. So it is what it is. But I mean, literally, that's all you do. You see how easy it is. You just put the 4 red, the 1 white. And I did kind of play around with putting it on and then taking it all back off and starting over because I wanted to make sure that I had enough and I could finish it all at one time. And I thought, well, no, let's just take it back off, get all of them rolled up, and then put them back on. So that's what I done, which wasn't anything to do, really. And that was it. Easiest thing in the world. And I was so intimidated by this. But I spent, $8, 9, 10, 11, probably $11 on this whole thing. And I did keep those little rolls. I've been saving all of my paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls, and any kind of little paper roll that I get in anything like this to make a project soon. And you're probably like, what the heck is she going to do with those rolls? But I will show you in a video coming up soon. So once I got all of my little roll sections put together, I guess is what you call them, then I just went back on, twisted them on. I took some of the berries that you can get. Those berries this year are beautiful from the Dollar Tree. Beautiful. And I used one, I'm thinking one, maybe it'll show me here in a minute, maybe two, but I don't think I used two. And that was it, just one little strand, and cut them up and just sort of put them, in between spots in there. And then I took, I tried those right there, and they were real heavy and they kept like falling. It just was too heavy for that. So then I took my little ribbon that I got from Walmart and made me a bow and stuck on there. Y'all, this is so easy. So easy. So yeah, I did use one of the little berry stems. I'm just waiting, hanging on, because I'll see if I use two here. But it was just sort of whimsically. How do you say that? Whimsically. When I was done with it, and I loved it. And then I just added in a pack of the little ornaments that you can get from the Dollar Tree that were sort of candy cane striped. And that was it. And I was finished and was kind of proud of it, because when I looked at the form, I had bought this form way back, gosh, I want to say in October, when they first started putting all this stuff out. And I just kept looking at it like, no, I can't do it. Yes, you can, Brenda. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. So finally, my granddaughter was over and she was like, Monner, let's just do it. Let's do the candy cane thing. So we did, and I was glad she talked me into it. My Macy girl can always talk me into something. I mean, that girl could get anything she wants from me. But anyway, I'm going to hush now and let you finish watching me, blah, blah, blah. Don't y'all love it when I get tongue-tied? Because if you don't watch me no more, because I'm going to get tongue-tied. That's a guarantee. And that was that. I was done, and I was kind of proud of the way it turned out, like I said. But let me know down in the comments what you think about it. Also, let me know if you do these. If you do, tell me some secrets and some tips and some tips and tricks of how to do this and how to make it look more like the form, because I know that's sort of a jacked up candy cane in the end. But I mean, I didn't think it turned out too bad. And it took, I want to say, maybe an hour to do. It wasn't long. It wasn't long at all. The hardest part was cutting the mesh up. And once you got the mesh cut up, just twisting it all together and putting it on the candy cane form. But it was so easy and so much fun. And less than $12, you could have now that sucker's huge. You could have a nice big gift to give to somebody for Christmas. So let me know what you think, and we will move on to DIY number 2. Now, this DIY is very intimidating, but it could not be any easier. If you have a sander, or you could get a sanding block and sand it by hand. Now, that is going to take a little bit longer than it does if you don't have an electric sander like I have. And I only paid like $25 for that at Home Depot, so it wasn't very expensive at all. And anyway, you just get you a 1x6x6 piece of board. I want to say it was $7 or $8, if that. And you make sure you sand it all down real good. Now, I like to take these microfiber cloths that you get at the Dollar Tree and cut them up and use those for my stain. That's another tip that I learned from Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs. I think she probably uses a little bit smaller piece, but I mean, it don't matter. It's the microfiber cloth. And it just works perfect whenever you're putting stain on. Now, this ebony stain that I got the other day, I had a request for a black background, so I bought this ebony stain, and I love it. I thought, if it's black, there's no way you're going to be able to see the wood grain through it. Oh, no, that was not true. You could still see the wood grain through it, and I mean, it was beautiful in the end. I was so in love with it, and I will be doing lots more with that stain. So anyway, you just take the stain and you stain your whole board. And that's my grandson, Jake. He was getting ready to leave for work and just came out there and talked to me for a little bit. And that's who you see kind of standing around talking to me for a little while. But anyway, I just got the board stain, and once it was dry, then I went back and took my stencil that I cut out with my Cricut. So, okay, you'll need a Cricut unless you can hand draw. Now, if you can hand draw, by all means hand draw. But I told y'all before, I can't even draw a stick man. So I rely on my Cricut, although I did when I was cutting this stencil up. You'll see right here on this H, I messed my H up. But I'm doing several of these at one time, so I did have another one cut out that saved me. So if you want to hand draw it, or you can actually even get stencils at the Walmart or the Dollar Tree. You don't have to have a Cricut to do this. But for me, I used my Cricut to cut out my stencil. That is the 813, 831? I think it's 813 vinyl by Oramask. Stencil vinyl. I love that stuff. When you put it down on your project, it does not peel up your paint or your stain or whatever you've put down there. And this one is the same design as the one that I did a couple weeks ago. This one here, so look at the wood grain there. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Now that wood is so dark that I had a hard time seeing where my placement was on my stencil. So I had to get my honey to come over with his light on his flashlight. And then once he got there, he's got to have the measuring tape. He can't do anything by sight because he's a perfectionist. So we had to measure it and make sure that it was in the right spot. But anyway, enough of that. Once you get your stencil on, take your paint, whatever you're using. Here I use the white acrylic paint by Apple Barrel. I still cannot find any white chalk paint by Waverly. I did buy some the other day from somebody else. It was a can, comes in a can. But anyway, that's me just touching up a little bit of the paint. So don't be alarmed whenever you pull your stencil off and be like, oh, I missed a spot here, or I got a little bit there. It's so easy to fix. It's a super easy fix. But look at that wood grain, y'all. It is beautiful. I was so surprised that I could still see the wood grain through there. But anyway, got the paint done, got it dried, took my stencil off, and added my little O for home with the same greenery that I used the last time. Got it from Walmart. It was only, I think, like $1 or $2 for that roll. And I will get probably 3 or 4 of these signs out of that roll. So it's not bad at all. But that is it, y'all. That's all you do to this sign. Make a pretty little bow for it. And then I like to put a little piece at the bottom and cover up some of, the leftover at the bottom. But I'm telling you, it just does not get any easier. So if you're sitting back and you are, just anxious about doing something like this, like I was for so many years, just step out and do it. And I hope that my video can give you the courage to be like, oh, heck, if she can do it, I can do it, because she screws everything up. So, I mean, really, it's so easy. And these make the most amazing gifts. Now, they sell these for $35 and up. I've seen them up to $70, which I could never charge anybody that much for. Now, this ribbon right here I got from the Dollar General, and it just has little sayings on it like happy and kind and grateful, and all of the things that Rosalind, who has been my best friend for many, many years, She is my oldest daughter's godmother. So we call each other baby mama. She's my baby mama. And she's just been very, very precious in my life. And that ribbon, when I saw it, I was like, I've got to use this on Roz's sign because it is so her. She is all of those wonderful things. But look how easy that was. I mean, don't let it intimidate you. Jump right in, get you a board, get you some stain or paint. You can paint it. You don't have to stain it. But look at the wood grain shining through there. Put your lettering on there. Throw you some greenery in a bow. That is it. It's so easy, guys. Look, see, life, happy, excellence. Those are all the things that describe her. I love that girl so much. I mean, she's just such a major part of my life. And then there's the little bottom, the little piece that I like to do on the bottom. I don't do that on all of mine, but I did like that on this one. But that's it. So super easy. So tell me what you think about that. Tell me if you're going to try it or if you do try it. And send me a picture. Show me a picture of yours. But let's jump right into DIY number 3. Now, this is my stove cover. I have wanted one of these for 2 or 3 years, ever since they started being a thing. And I was not paying no $70 for one. So first thing I did is I measured my stove, got my measurements. I went to Home Depot and got it cut. And they'll cut it for you for free. Now, these I got from Home Depot. Those suckers, it was hard for me to push because they are tight. But, I mean, strong. And they were probably unnecessary here. That's the wood grain that the wood stain that I used. I did use some wood glue. I'm just showing you everything that I used. Now, I bought these cute little handles to use on this. They're kind of industrial looking, but I'm about to do, I have roosters in my kitchen, and I have had them for years. I'm talking about major farmhouse, but I'm about to switch over to the white porcelain farmhouse look. So, and I loved these handles, and I thought they would be perfect, but they were just so small for this big old piece. So I ended up using some handles that I had around for, see, look at them. Aren't they adorable? I love them. So I ended up using some handles that I have for my Lazy Susans that I use. But really, I'm telling you again, easy DIY. I had my board cut down to size by Home Depot. This was a 1x6x10, and they cut them down into 29.5 inches long. It took 4 of them. Now, you see that one board right there is a different color because I'm doing several of these at one time. And I just grabbed a different board. Now, with the stain, it does not matter. I really thought the stain was going to be off whenever I did it, but you'll see that it's not. So I took the end piece. Now, the end piece is a 1x2, and it was 22 inches long to match the size of my stove. Now, you want to measure your stove first. So I put a bunch of wood glue on there, got my grandson Daniel to help me hold it in place, which I didn't end up needing him, but he wanted to help, so I let him. But anyway, that's Daniel. He's 17. He's in the Army. He just got back from boot camp in July. He will do 12th grade this year. When he graduates, then he'll go out to Texas to do his AIT training, and he's going to be a medic in the Army and eventually be a doctor when he gets through with college. But anyway, the clamps were probably not necessary because I did use my brad nailer and nailed them down, but I just wanted to make sure that they had a good tight grip. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't going anywhere. And as tight as those little vice grips right there are, believe me, that thing ain't going nowhere no time soon. Now, this is me just playing with the handle because when I got it all put together, I was like, man, that's huge. And even though that doesn't look much bigger than the one that I originally wanted, it was. So I ended up going with the other one, and that was it. All I had to do now is stain it and stencil it. And you don't even have to stencil it if you don't want to stencil it. But I wanted mine stenciled, and I just went back and flipped it over once I was done and put some brad nails in the back. So I nailed the top and the bottom, plus the wood glue. So believe me when I tell you that this thing ain't going nowhere. And then once I got it all nailed down, I took it outside and I stained it. I used that, I want to say it was American walnut or some kind of walnut. I'll put it down in the description and let you know the name of it. And then I guess when I got it outside, I decided that it needed a few more nails, which it did not. Trust me, it was not going to go anywhere. But I'm an overachiever, so I went ahead and put some more nails in it to make sure that it would last for many, many, many years to come. And then threw this stain on there, and once that stain dried, then I put my stencil on. Now, I fought with that stencil. Oh, did I fight with that stencil? I had this harebrained idea when I was sanding this thing down to use a wire brush and wipe off the excess dust. Now, do as I say and not as I do, because I scratched that wood all to pieces when I did that. Now, it does give it a little bit more rustic farmhouse feel, and it does look a lot more weathered like that, but that was not the look I was going for. So, don't do what I did. But anyway, I got it all sanded down, got it smooth, got it cleaned up, put my stain on there, and then went back, cut my design out. And like I said, I fought with it like crazy because I waited, or I didn't wait until my stain was completely dry. So I struggled with that, trying to keep that stencil down. And I never have trouble with that stencil. Like, that's the best stuff in the world. And I mean, I struggled trying to keep the stencil down. So I did have a few bleeds, but you see it was not hard to fix those bleeds. I just went back in and wiped off while it was still wet the area. And if I wiped too hard and pulled some of the stain up, I just went back with a little bit of stain and covered it back up. And I guess I probably wasn't too worried about it being perfect because I knew it was mine. But you see how easy this thing went together, and you see how beautiful it is. And again, we're only talking $10 to make the whole thing. So get out there, get your wood on, and make you some of the most beautiful, expensive, high-end gifts for pennies on the dollar. Now, when it come to putting my handles on, I had my honey come and help me because I did want those perfectly in the middle. So I took these little felt pads that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I put on the bottom because it is a glass top. Here we go again. Glass top stove. And I didn't want that wood to scratch it up. But there it is. There is the finished design. So cheap, so easy. Those handles were $1.49, something like that. I think 99 cents. I don't know. They were cheap, less than $3 for both of them. And that's it. Can you see those scratches in that wood where I used that that wire brush to wipe off that dust, that sawdust? But anyway, look at how it turned out. And I almost left it like this, but I did cut out these little laurels to put on each side of that. So I went back in. I wasn't going to do it because I fought so hard with the C and Cochran and Established 1992, and I just wasn't going to mess with it. But I did want to cover more of the top than was covered, so I fought with it to get these little laurels on, and I mean, I had horrible bleeds, but I fixed it. Now, Daniel, my grandson that's in the Army, said, Mona, just take them out of there. Just, take that footage out where you fought with it so hard. And I said, no, because I want them to see when something messes up, that it's easy to fix, and, not to panic, not to let it dissuade you from doing things like this, because it's fixable. So that's why I left it in there. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed all three of these homemade gifts that would cost you so much money if you bought them from somebody else. And not only is it cost effective to do it yourself, but you have pride in knowing that you did this. Like, you did this with your own bare hands, and there's no better feeling in the world. So leave me a comment. Let me know which one of these was your favorite. If you're still here, thank you for staying and watching the whole thing. I love you guys more than you know. Leave me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. But thank you for coming. And we're going to really get into some Christmas stuff after today's video. It's not all going to be Christmas, but there will be a lot of Christmas in there. So happy holidays. Thanks for coming, and I will see you next Monday. But don't forget that you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Monner's Market. So that's here on YouTube, on Facebook, and Instagram, all at Monner's Market. Follow me, like me, subscribe to me. Just really supporting my channel is all I'm asking for. And I just can't thank you enough for the ones who keep coming back week after week. I love you guys more than you know. You inspire me to keep going. And I am close to 170 subscribers. Like I said, I like to give my count each week, and I think it's like 166 now. So, yay, go me. I'm excited. I will see y'all next week. Love you. Bye.